how to start building muscle and how to keep the mentality of just going. But I think I have that down pat at this point. Well, I guess I spoke too soon. Today we're going to start a new series called Mindset. I think today is the perfect topic for it. It's not going to be an easy topic to talk about, but it's something that needs to be discussed. Having the right mindset helps with this weight loss journey, at least for me, and I think it'll help for a lot of people as well. I think as a community, being able to share our thoughts, whether it's me talking, whether it's people in the comments, whether it's something that evolves into something bigger or better later, I think we can all share the mental part of what we're trying to do, because it's not a black and white thing for a lot of people. It might be for some people. It might be don't eat, but for someone like me, it's not that easy. So on Tuesday, September 22nd, I was completing my 31st 65 plus hour back-to-back fast. And I did, no problem. I started to cook food. I started to eat. I had my refeed and I ate about 6,200 calories. I didn't record anything. This was just, I gave myself a day to just eat, relax, watch a little TV and kind of wind down. And I don't know exactly what caused it, but I ended up having a binging episode, or kind of overdoing it. We'll call it a binging episode. It's not something that I don't think I've really spent time discussing here and explaining how it works for me. I can't speak for others. I don't know if my situation is similar to other people's, but I'll break it down. So when I refeed, a lot of people who are new to my channel, they get a little confused and they see me eat 6,000 to 7,000 calories and they think I'm either binging or, I'm stuffing myself so full that I can't walk or move. And that's not the case at all. If you've watched my previous episodes, I eat to satiety. I eat until I feel full. There's a difference. There's a difference between eating, at least for me, there's a difference between eating until I'm full, or at least feeling full, right? Feeling satiated, and losing control. And that's what happened to me on Tuesday. Let me explain how it's different for me. I record 99% of everything that I eat. And in no way, shape, or form am I eating to the point where I have to throw up, or I can't breathe, or it's uncomfortable. It's not like that at all. Now, I have not had like an out of control episode, binging episode, whatever you want to call it, since COVID. When the lockdown first started, I had, I believe it was 2 to 3 episodes where I kind of lost control, which is what prompted me to start this channel, Finally Fasting. So I know people can relate with this. There are times that you eat and you're still hungry. There are times that you eat and then you're full. And then there are also times that you eat and then you feel more than full. You feel stuffed. You feel like you might have eaten a bit too much. I think most people can relate to that. And then the episodes that I have are a little different. These are the episodes where I'm not proud of, and it's very hard for me to discuss here because I'm trying to think of how I can even put this except to just be completely blunt and honest about it. And what happens is I lose control. I lose complete control. I'll detail how the 22nd went. So I ate the 6,200 calories that I had counted, that I had cooked. Everything was fine. And then I opened my phone app up. I was looking for food on Grubhub. I walked to the 7-Eleven down the street and I ordered $60 worth of food on Grubhub. And I don't know, I think it was like 12 something, 15 something at 7-Eleven, like candy bars, chips. And then I ordered pizza and I ordered desserts that came with it. And I knew I wasn't going to be able to eat all of it, but I ate a good portion of it. So when I say out of control, you can see that this is more than just food. This is me ordering food that I don't even really have the money for. But I did anyway. I just put it on my credit card because I said, F it. We're doing it. This is happening. This is a thing. Which is why I went to the store as well, bought like snacks that I didn't even finish, but I'll be damned if I didn't try to eat everything. So that's one part of the out of control. I've talked about this in the past where that kind of out of control behavior, it affects relationships, it affects people that, I come in contact with, work, everything. I kind of push everything to the side. I kind of have like this reckless behavior because I'm trying to escape. I'm trying to find a way out. I'm trying to find a way to emotionally relieve myself from any of the stresses that I'm having. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute, but I kind of want to just discuss how this went. So started eating the snacks. The food got delivered. I already ate 6,200 calories. I didn't count those calories, obviously, because at that point you just, or at least for me, I don't consider it. I'm just like, whatever, I easily ate over 10,000 calories that night. Luckily, it was during my feeding window. My feeding window was extended, probably around 7 hours. I remember falling asleep at a certain time. I would have to check on my Zero app. But yeah, the way it works is as that food comes in, I eat and I eat, even though I'm full, even though I was already full that night. When that food came and I started eating it, it felt good. You have like that rush, at least for me, that's how it works. And then I started to feel uncomfortable, like way too much, but it doesn't stop me from eating. That's the loss of control that I'm talking about. That's the binging, if you want to call it that, episode that I was having. And it's not new to me. It's something that I've dealt with for decades. When I weighed 220 before I started this channel, and I weighed 235 before I went on this whole journey of fasting. It's a lot. I ate to the point where I can't even explain it. I can't explain why I do it. I do it because it's like I spent all this money. I got to eat this because I'm not going to be eating it tomorrow because I'm starting over, right? I think that's a familiar routine for people. And those were past behaviors that I've been accustomed to, that I have really set aside for the most part, right? Fasting, losing this weight, but as cliche as it sounds, old habits die hard. I think too, there might be people who don't have these issues or they can't relate to what I'm talking about. And I think sometimes they might ask and say, well, why? Well, you're full. Just stop eating. And as simple as that sounds, I think the mindset, the mentality part is the struggle there. And it's something that I've been able to handle very well for over a year now, but it hasn't been perfect. And it's weird because I'm talking about this here And I've never talked about it in this way. And there was a very small portion of me that wanted to hide it, because that's what I'm good at doing. I'm good at hiding, and I'm good at running away from it. But I can't, not on this channel, not with the people that I share my story with, not with the people that are vulnerable and sharing their story with me and their successes and their failures and their struggles to move forward. So when I finished, and I ate as much as I could, even though I was super full, I was still stuffing what I could until I physically felt ill. I clocked the time, started my fasting app, and I tried to get my head back into the game. I took all those leftovers and I put them all in the garbage, and I threw it out. And I said, okay, you did it. Tomorrow we start over, which is not how I like to do things anymore. I don't like to start over, because I feel like our lives are a journey from the beginning to the end. There's no starting over, but that's something I'm so used to doing. Now, before I talk about the day after, the reason that this got triggered, or what triggered me, or what have you, is I've been stressed. I talk about not eating emotionally, not to stress eat, but I know that for some people, it's just very difficult. And I get that. I've been there. It just happened earlier this week. So personally for me, something happened over the weekend that just emotionally triggered me. It put me in a bad place. It put me in a state where I was just like, well, what's the point? What's the point of all of this? And, it's the woe is me kind of thing. And I think we all deserve to feel that way if we feel that way. If I'm sad, I'm sad. If I get hurt or feel hurt, it happens, right? I don't want to get into the details of that. There's no point, but that's what triggered it for me. After I ate all of that food and I threw all that stuff away, I felt awful. I felt shameful. I felt guilty. I felt fat. I'm 5'3" and I weigh 130 pounds, and I felt fat. I think being overweight, obese, my entire life, being 5'3", weighing 220, or, even further back, I weighed 235 at one point. I still look at myself as that short, fat guy. I still look at myself and think that's what other people think of me when they see me, even today. And I felt that way after I ate the way that I did. I know I am not worthless. I know that. I know that I'm not worthless today, and I know that I wasn't worthless when I weighed 220 or 235 or 180. I know that, but sometimes I can't get it out of my head. And that day, after eating that, after just the emotional stuff over the weekend or whatever, I felt like I wasn't good enough for people, for myself. But just like I threw the food away and I said, okay, you're done, I put it back in my head that I needed to get out of that mindset. And that's exactly what I did. So the next day I woke up, I went for another 4 to 6 mile walk. I'd have to check how far I went, but it was somewhere around there. I believe it was around 5 miles, I'm guessing. I came back from that walk. I started doing push-ups too. I ended up doing 50 that day and then 25 the day after. And today I just did 10, but just trying to take all those extra calories I took in and, put it to use. The day after eating the way I did, I weighed in at 140.2 pounds. That 65-hour fast I broke, I weighed in at 131.4. So like a 9-pound gain. And it just, for me, it reaffirmed that I was fat. Like, look at all that weight you gained. But I made sure that I wasn't going to do it again. I was back in the 65-hour fasting mode. And, well, today I will be breaking, or I won't be breaking. Today I will be completing my 32nd 65-plus hour fast. So I did my walks, my push-ups, stayed active, continued to work, continued to do what I'm doing, and pushed through. Today I weighed in at 131.2 pounds, so even less than the last 65-plus hour fast. I'm pretty much back to where I was at. And I knew that. I knew it was eventually going to get there, but the shame and the guilt of how I ate and what I did, it's just tough. I knew that if I just continued on and kept pushing forward, I would be back to where I was at. And I can progress further and move past it, and it becomes a blip behind me. And for me, it's part of moving forward. I look at this not as failure anymore, but it's that part of growth that helps you move forward. I think this applies to more than just eating, more than just your weight loss journey, but as part of your life. The ups and downs. Life is never up, 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 up. Life is going to have its ups and downs. It's just a matter of time before something just doesn't work the way you intended it to, and you just need to ride that out. Just like fasting, just like riding that hunger out. I'm going to segue a bit here because someone left a comment that I said I was going to respond to because I felt like it was an appropriate way to go about this, especially considering the topic. But Jenna, she wrote a comment that talked about her struggles with consistently fasting. And so she has children, and the fact that when she cooks food for them or cleans up for them or cleans up the food, there's always that temptation. She wrote here, or if I have a stressful day at work, nothing seems to be able to stop me from eating. But my kids, dinner, and work stress are my biggest struggles for me to staying consistent with fasting. I think from my perspective, it's very hard because I don't have children. I don't have to cook for anyone else. I only cook for me, and I only cook when it's time to eat. So for me, it's a lot easier. I don't have those temptations there. Previously, I was living with other people who were cooking food, and I would have to ignore that. That was just the willpower that kept me going. And obviously, not everybody can do that either because that's also very difficult. The only thing that I can recommend is just trying to figure out what kind of system you're trying to put in place in terms of fasting, what your backup plan is, how many calories you can eat if you decide to break early, or if whatever happens in life, you break early, then you start counting your calories. As much as I know people don't want to count calories, remember, the longer you can fast, the less you have to worry about counting calories. But if you break early, if you fast in the amount of time that you didn't expect, be prepared to count those calories, because once you get out of that deficit, you're going to gain weight. Jenna, if anything, leave comments. Look for that accountability partner. There are many ways I think that we can try to push towards it. I've been considering trying to find a way to, even if it was like a live stream daily at like a certain time during the evening, where I could spend an hour and just talk with everyone and see how they're doing, and kind of, I don't want to say motivating people, but just like talking about our day and having a community that's all together, that's doing the same thing, which is fasting, writing it out, pushing along our weight loss journey. I don't know if that's helpful. I don't know if that would be something people would be interested in, but if it is, please let me know. And we can definitely try to test the live stream out. We can talk in chat. I can talk with everyone. I mean, I can invite people on so we can share stories, or I don't know. Maybe it's another way of building that community that might also motivate, inspire, encourage us to keep pushing forward. So before I close this, I wanted to take a second here because this relates in a certain way as well. I'm not going to get into those details either, but I had somebody shout me out on YouTube, which was completely unexpected. But Maya, who has her own YouTube channel, if you don't know who Maya is, please feel free to check her out. I've been following her for a long time. For people who don't know, I follow a lot of people who have done a fasting journey. I've watched their progress. I've watched the ups and downs that come with it. And I admire all of them because it's not an easy thing to do. Maya took the time to make a recent video. She had just moved back to the States from being in Canada for quite some time. And she's had a tremendous growth in her weight loss journey as well. And she's still pushing along, and I'm rooting for her. You know, we had touched base, and I was so surprised she even took the time to say hi and shout me out and tell people to subscribe. And I was taken aback. So Maya, thank you so much. Please, I don't know if you're watching this, but if you are, we'll touch base. Guys, if you are part of this channel, feel free to check her out on her journey as well. When I talk about wanting to help people, I mean that's one of the reasons I had reached out to her, because I noticed that she had become a subscriber, and I was like, what? Because I watch all her videos, and we had started talking, and I was just trying to reach out for help, to help her if she needed any help. Which is why, I try to comment to everybody who leaves a comment in the comment section or who DMs me on Instagram or wherever. I try to reach out where I can. I want to help people because the thing that kind of bothers me is I do this because I want to share my journey and help people. But I also, when I look at other people trying to do these whole, lose X amount of pounds in 3 days or the 5 easy, it's just what? That's not, I don't know who that really works for. Anyway, Maya, welcome back to the States. I'm sure we're going to touch base soon. Just remember that this weight loss journey, for anybody who is on this journey, who's trying to, reach new personal bests with fasting, or even if you're just trying to stay consistent, there is no rush to this, especially if this is a lifelong thing for you. I get it. We all want to lose weight as quickly as possible. I was there. I did it too. I totally get it. And I respect people who want to have that determination and that willpower to push that far, to push that strongly. But I know that there are a lot of people who will have that right at the beginning and then it'll taper off. And I think trying to stay consistent, even if you have to move a little slower, is still progress, is still moving forward. I think no matter what happens in life, no matter how much that stuff weighs on your shoulders or the stresses that come, at you, you just have to move forward.